Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Lauren K. Wyatt of Love Renegades, and I have with me today the beautiful and bold Denise Johnson. Denise is a very empowering coach and speaker and educator too, and I really feel like it's best if she introduced herself. So I'm just going to. Denise, hello. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you for having me. That was a beautiful introduction. I will just add a little bit onto that.
Please,
In my
please.
professional world, I'm known as the boldness coach, and I help professionals, high performing and high potential professionals, to be bold, big, and bad.
Yes. And I love this so much about you. And it was such an honor to meet you. And we were both in New Delhi at the Women Economic Forum back in April of 2017.
Yeah, it's funny how sometimes you have to travel across the pond to actually meet people that you should be connected with here in the States. But
Absolutely. I know. I know. I'm
right?
like, we met in India. How cool is that?
And we both live in the States. How
And
cool is
I
that, right?
know. Like, you're in California, I'm in Texas. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So Denise, tell me what brought you into the Love Renegades type of energy?
Well, I'll say first, it was meeting you. So I remember we were all sitting downstairs at the hotel, at the Pullman Hotel in New Delhi, and we were all kind of chatting it up. And so what happened was the energy, just the calmness, of your spirit and the ease in which you were talking about who you are in the world and your purpose. And then I just kind of caught my ear and I'm like, hmm. And then we did this little exercise on the worksheet. So, and then we sent it off to you. But before we get to that part of it, it really was the energy, and it really, I say, the area of specialization that you have. I mean, I've never met a love renegade before or a love renegade coach before. So that within itself was a draw.
Thank you so much. Yes, the document that you're talking about was the Break the Laws of Love quiz.
Yeah.
That Yeah, and what that does is it sheds light on any illusions that are separating you from love. And what was it that you discovered about yourself from your result? I don't even know if you remember or not. It
Yeah,
seems like so far
I
ago.
don't remember, but I do. What I can tell you, I was breaking some laws. I
Yeah.
was truly breaking some laws. And I would say the number one law I was breaking was getting in my own way.
Mm.
I, I
Yeah.
don't I don't think that most of people, of us who are seeking love in our life, we don't think about ourselves as it relates to breaking love laws.
Yeah. These laws of love are things that they're illusions that separate us from love. So I love how you said it. Just if we take all of that out and just hone it in on that, you felt like you were getting in your own way.
Yeah. I was getting in my own way. And the results showed that I was getting in my own way. The results being of past broken relationships, and some of those past broken relationships were ones that perhaps could have been nurtured and perhaps, had the potential to be loving relationships. But because of illusions that I was operating in, or operating in,
Mhm.
you know, got in the way of really bringing some clarity, and perhaps even creating the space, for, some of those relationships to turn into what they really had the potential to be. And then there were others that just really were relationships that I broke the laws on, that I completely probably knew what the law was, but just disregarded it because I wanted it to work out the way I wanted it to work out.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you just shed light on right now is that you knew what you wanted, and maybe you bypassed your own intuition or your own inner knowing about something.
Yes, yes. I think I bypassed my own inner knowing a lot of times. And, and I
You know,
think that's very, I think it's more common than not that a lot of us, will bypass our knowing in the areas of simple things in our lives, as well as things that probably require way more in-depth spiritual connection to. We just bypass them because we want things to work out on our own time schedule. And
sure.
and love doesn't work that way.
No, so what did you discover about love throughout our work together?
I discovered that, I was really harboring the illusions about love and how love, should look. And I was harboring those illusions because I really had bought into them through other people and other interactions. And what I mean by that is sometimes we don't realize that we create belief systems into reality because of just the conversations around us.
Mm.
So if you're coming from a background or you are in relationship, friends or family with other people that may have their own illusions of love, they pass them on to you. So you inadvertently kind of adopt them, as a belief system and then turn them into a factual system that,
Wow.
ultimately can get in the way. And so I think that was number one, was that I was really just through, growing up, and perhaps not being exposed to, or should I say limited exposure to
Mhm.
healthy love relationships, that I adopted, some of other people's belief systems and made them factual.
Mm.
And the second thing I discovered is that I was really I was really breaking a lot of laws, meaning that, or should I say, I was breaking the number one law, which was the inner knowing, getting into relationships where I already knew from the beginning, Lauren, that it wasn't going to work out, and so some
Wow.
people might say settling, right? So getting into relationships where I knew that there was a value difference, that there was faith difference, that, just career differences, cultural differences, you name it. But those were probably deal breakers that I just decided to ignore. And ultimately they came up to the surface, and guess what? The deal got broken. So
Mm.
I think that was the biggest thing. I think the third thing is I learned from you that when you do know your inner knowing and you know what your spiritual gifts are, that it's easier for you to, I won't say spot, but it's easier for you to be open to love and be able to recognize loving attributes,
Mm.
that could possibly, complement your loving attributes.
I love that. So, what was it like when you heard about your divine gifts? When you found out how you were made and how you were wired to give and receive love? What was that like for you?
It was eye opening. It was really eye opening. Meaning that, you know, I'd say what was eye opening about is that I knew that already, but probably didn't know how to frame it in my life, because it was showing up, and when as it showed up, it was. I think sometimes what we just kind of bypass our gifts as, oh, this is what we do,
Mm-hmm.
without re-
Totally.
without really realizing it's very special and it's very unique, because even myself and other people may have very similar soul gifts, but we're individuals with that gift, which makes it unique to us.
Wow. Would you say that it allowed you to really like love and appreciate yourself at another level?
Oh my God, yeah. I for the first time, Lauren, I'm laughing because, let me do this disclaimer, sidebar. As
Please.
the boldness coach who helps, people be bold, big, and bad, it doesn't mean that I'm without support and need as well, right? So
There's
coaches need
always
coaches.
another level. There's
There's always,
always another
right,
level of
right.
self-love, of love, of passion, whatever it is. So,
Right. So coaches need coaches, therapists need therapists, right? Doctors need
absolutely.
doctors. So I just
Absolutely.
wanted to do that disclaimer. But the thing about it that was so revealing to me was that my soul gifts were showing up in the interaction between me and possible love mates. But what happened was it was almost kind of like they could sense my gift. And so it started to not, it started to break the opportunity for it to be a loving relationship into more of a business relationship. And I'll give you an example,
Please.
try to make this easier for other people to digest. Meaning that every time I went on a date, men would start to tell me everything about them. And like literally within a matter of probably 30 minutes to an hour, I knew everything about them because of my soul gift and the ease that I bring for people to open up to me.
Divine love.
Divine love. And so divine love is that energy that says, welcome, come in, have a seat, get comfortable. No judgment here. You are welcome here. You are appreciated and you matter. So that's what divine love says. And it had been showing up in my life all throughout my life. Even before I got into the coaching industry, I just would always have people that just would tell me some of their innermost private discussions, secrets, conversations with themselves, right? So I'm on a date and I'm on dates as I'm going on dates, and I'm finding that men are just kind of pouring this out to me. Well, when you're on a date and someone starts telling you all of their business on the date and your first date, and you really don't know each other, immediately the coach in me starts to come out. And then I start kind of getting into coaching mode as opposed to being in possible, partner mode, and so, and then the date would just go sour because I would be like, oh man, I know too much too soon. And it seems like you're looking at me as a coach and not really looking at me as a possible partner for you.
That is
So
so a pattern that needs to go, right?
that's a pattern that needed to go. And so what I learned from you was that my first few dates need to be play dates. So now as I go forward and I'm looking to date, the request I have, from dates is that, from a date is that I want to go out to play. So let's have a play
Good.
where we get to interact with each other, where I don't get to sit and be a coach and you kind of pour out because you feel so eased and comfortable with me. Let's just get to play together and see how we play with each other. And then we can ease into, perhaps just kind of getting to know each other in a different way.
Wow. So it sounds like you set some boundaries and you got to set the tone for what you wanted to experience on the date.
Yeah. And what's funny you say about boundaries, because that's another piece, from I would say an illusion piece of breaking the law is that sometimes women, we're told, oh, just let the man handle everything. And, and he's the man and he should, plan everything and have everything the way you like it and what have you, blah, blah, blah. And then we adopt that illusion. And then when it doesn't happen, we're disappointed. But the truth be told is he doesn't know me. I don't know him. So how does he know that I want to have a play date? And it also allowed me to trust my knowing, that and there were other potential dates that I spoke to where I brought this up, and it just was a no-go. It was like, well, what do you mean play dates? Or what do you mean? Well, you want to have it this way or you want to have it that way. Well, it's just kind of like, you know what? Thank you for your feedback, but you're so right. I have the right to ask for what I want the way that I want it. And if that's something that's appreciated, you will appreciate it. If it's something that you don't appreciate, you won't appreciate. But I didn't necessarily say those words to that person, or those people, those men. But what it did was it allowed me to trust my knowing and being able to say, if they're telling me now that they don't appreciate or open to my request, they're not going to appreciate being open to my request, any request in the future.
I think that that's really powerful. And to me, it sounds like you really stepped out of people pleasing and you really got to be like the bold and the
Yes.
bad,
Yes.
amazing woman who you are. You know,
Yes.
you were just like, hey, like, this is what I'd like to do. And
Yeah.
it's not an unreasonable request. And the way that someone responds to us, like, people will show us
Mm-hmm.
right
Mm-hmm.
away who they are.
Yeah. Yes.
And maybe the old you would have been okay with that, and you're like, oh, I'll just work on them and, you know, see what I can do. I'll clean this up and help them. But
Right.
now it's like you're putting you first, you're setting boundaries, you're communicating, and it's allowing the love to flow.
Yeah, yeah. And I did, again, I practiced that boundary with someone, and we had an amazing time. We had an amazing play date. And it was, we had several play dates which were really great. And then it was great because I felt great, he felt great, we felt great. Um and there was nothing hanging around like, oh, I should have did this. Oh, I wish I had told this. Oh, I'm ready to go because this isn't going the way I thought it would. It just kind of got rid of all of the negativity that was present before when I wasn't clear about my boundaries.
Yeah, it feels like you really got to free up your energy
Yes.
and you didn't have to worry because you were just there. You got to be present for yourself and for your date.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think about all the times that on dating, how much time I spent worrying in the date. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. And that takes you out of the
it
experience.
does. Yeah, it
Yeah. So
absolutely does.
thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank
Um,
you.
what do you, out of all of the work that we did together, what was your favorite part, or what do you feel supported you the most?
Understanding, divine love and divine power, my soul gifts, understanding that the most and what they mean to me in my life really is what I got out of it the most. And with the divine power, really living in the space and embodying that power of divine love and divine power, but embodying them in my being made me get really clear, Lauren, that I deserve the best. And I had not been giving myself the best when it came to dating and other relationships. So that was the biggest thing, is that, you know what, you command that. And when you command it, you get to own it, and you get to accept it. That's what I want to say. You get to accept that gift, of that power level. And so that became really big to me. So that way, if someone says to me, oh, well, you're just being you're not flexible. And then before I would probably get a little bit agitated by it and maybe even offended by it and say, what do you mean I'm not flexible? Yes, I am, and try to explain it away, right? But then I
Mhm.
thought to myself, like, no, you're right. I'm not being flexible. You're right. And own that and say, because this is important to me. So if you, and somebody may say, well, what's an example of that? One gentleman I went out with, I asked for a 1 day a week, a one date day a week. There's 7 days in a week. And I said, I'd like to have dinner 1 day a week, as a way to connect, have conversation, and, and just kind of disconnect from the world and get to know each other. Well, the gentleman told me that, he doesn't know if that's possible. And I said, okay, thank you. You know,
Why isn't it possible?
you know what? I didn't ask why it wasn't possible
I'm
because,
just
yeah,
curious.
I know, right? Out of 7 days, right? And then he said that he had a really busy calendar for the rest of October on the weekends. So, okay, so here's the knowing. The knowing is, I heard you say that you can't make room on the weekends, which takes away some of the days, but the other 5 days that you aren't willing to or don't want to or are not interested in making room for one of those 5 days for a date with me either. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you
so
kicked
the
him out of your orbit.
yeah, so the knowing said,
Yeah.
you know what, here is what you know for sure, Venice. So don't try to accommodate. So that was the biggest takeaway, is the power in saying, you know what, I understand and see where you are. Thank you for telling me. It's been great just chatting with you, and, see you around.
That is so awesome. It's a totally different level of authenticity where you got to really love and appreciate yourself and
Yeah.
bring that into your dates. I love that so much.
Yeah. I think it can be a scary place initially, because when you are stepping away from the familiar, and then you get into the position of owning, because I think a lot of us say that because of the cliche of know your power, know your worth, and
Be
we have,
authentic.
yeah,
Be
be authentic.
authentic.
We
The
have all these
coaching.
colloquialisms, right, that we wear like badges that we just like Velcro on, you know. but but when it comes to really standing in, owning that and standing in that, then that's a whole different level, of acceptance. So it was just great to be in that space. And so, has it cut out a lot of things on dating? Absolutely. Absolutely. But when I look back on it, I would rather, if there were 20 men that were interested in going out with me, I would rather dismiss 19 of them, for the one, than I would to go through 19 of them and miss the 19 of them that weren't the one and miss the one.
Wow. What a new mindset. It's such abundance. I love it.
Yeah.
Trust and abundance, love and power, like you said. Well, Venice, I'm sure people would love to connect with you further and just be in your energy more. How can they find you, like with your business and everything?
Thank you. So people can find me on VaniceJohnson.com, and that's VANEESE Johnson, JOHNSON.com. So people can reach out to me there. They can send an email and say, hey, I saw your video with Lauren. So I would be happy to connect with them and help them to step into their boldness. But I'm going to tell people before they contact me, Lauren, that they are going to feel that energy level that they probably experience with you, which is that energy of clarity, and the energy of divine power and divine love. So they're going to experience that. So if they're not ready for that, then I don't recommend they contact me, because my clients, after meeting with you, Lauren, I've actually sent a referral over to you.
Wonderful.
Is that people are like, something's different. Like, what's I said, it's that love renegade. So
You've always been a love renegade, and I feel like that's a big reason why we clicked.
yes.
Is
Yeah.
like you assist people in being bold and really being their power and having that show through their brand
Yes.
and just your whole energy, your being. And then I do my own version of that, but in like
Yes.
the love and relationships.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
so empowered. I'm going to share this with your viewers. I'm so empowered, Lauren. I showed you my t-shirt earlier, but I'm going to share everyone else.
Please.
So my t-shirt says love. So it's so funny because after my session with you, Lauren, and I was getting ready to travel, and I saw this t-shirt, and I'm like, I have to have this t-shirt. So when I'm feeling really in my soul gifts, I put this t-shirt on and I go out in the world.
Good. Let people know who you are
Yes,
and who
I
they're
am
dealing
love.
with. You are divine power. You are divine love.
Yes,
And you are bold and awesome. So
yes.
thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you for spending time with me today. I'm so
You're
grateful
welcome.
to have you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be part of the Love Renegade family.
Yes,
Absolutely.
thank you. There we go. Thank you for being a part of the Love Renegade family. I know that this is going to be a prosperous and beautiful relationship unfolding.